What's up, guys? This is Brad. All right, we need to have a quick conversation about Goldin auctions, and here's why. Specifically for the hobby of graded magazines, Heritage Auctions has dominated for several years now when it comes to selling the higher end slabs. There's just been very few high end graded magazines sold on Golden Auctions or on any other sites. They have pretty much all been on Heritage. But in the last year, even really more so the last 6 months or so, Golden has kind of come out of nowhere and started claiming a lot of these high end sales. Now, of course, eBay still has the most traffic. It's got most of the low end, most of the mid sales, and it does have a few high end. But the fact is that the fees with eBay are ridiculous. I think a lot of people are getting fed up with them, and so like I said, Heritage has been the go-to place, but Golden Auctions all of a sudden has started having a pretty nice selection of some really good graded magazines over the last 6 months or so. And think whatever you want about Ken Golden. I know he's kind of a controversial person in the hobby of collectibles. People have mixed feelings about him. But I will say, I think you got to respect the hustle and the growth of Golden Auctions in general. The Netflix series is absolutely phenomenal. I loved the first two seasons. Can't wait for more episodes of that to come out. And once again, regardless of what you feel about him or have thought about him in the past, I mean, Golden Auctions has really kind of etched its own space. It's taken its own shape in the whole auction space. So here's my thing. I had used Heritage Auctions a couple times over the past few years, and it was okay. The experience was, I would say, just okay. I didn't really feel like there was great communication there. I was pleased. I was happy with the results of my auctions, but there really wasn't a lot of communication. Didn't really feel like anyone was going out of their way to help me or taking that extra step. And I had also used Goldin once, but not for magazines. I had used it once for some sports cards. This was several years ago, and I was not impressed with that either. However, two things recently happened that made me decide to give Golden Auctions another try. Number one is that I saw that Golden Auctions a few months ago added a separate category on their search filters for graded magazines. So, you've got sports cards, you've got comics, you've got whatever, signed jerseys, you've got tickets, photos. There's graded magazines. There's a separate category. Nobody else has added that yet. Heritage Auctions does not have a separate category for graded magazines. eBay doesn't even have a separate category for graded magazines. And that makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference because if you're a buyer and you are specifically interested in graded magazines, you go check that box and boom, you are filtered down to exactly what you want to see. Whereas if you're trying to do that on eBay or on Heritage, it's not that easy. Right now, the way to do it on those places is basically you search CGC magazine or CGC Sports Illustrated, whatever, and then you'll get pretty much the entire list. But let me tell you right now, in about a month or two, or whenever it is that PSA rolls out their graded magazine service, that's going to make things a lot more complicated. And actually, for me personally, because I put together videos on a monthly basis tracking the highest monthly sales and tracking a bunch of interesting sales, my searching for the different magazine sales is about to get a lot more difficult whenever PSA comes into the fold. Just because all of a sudden I can't just search CGC Sports Illustrated. And also, I can't just search PSA Kobe Bryant because then I'm going to need a million sports cards. So things are going to get pretty messy here unless you go the route that Golden Auctions has gone and create a separate category for graded magazines. And I think that is huge. That is a really underrated feature. In fact, in one of my videos, I think it was a year ago. I think it was 1 year ago because it was like my wish list for 2024. I was begging for, and I think I specifically asked Heritage to create a separate category for graded magazines. Well, they still haven't done it, but Golden Auction stepped up and did it, and that's a big deal. So that was one reason why I wanted to give them another try. But then the second reason was I was seeing multiple people in our community. It's a pretty small, a small but awesome community. Collecting the graded magazines, and I was hearing like multiple people and several people who I know and respect, um, just rave about Goldin's customer service all of a sudden. And there was one person in particular that I guess has kind of headed up their graded magazine department. His name is Kyber, and I kept seeing his name all over the message boards and like, oh, this guy's awesome. Got to work with him. He's doing a great job, really, promoting the hobby. And I was seeing this for several months, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'm gonna give him a try. So I contact this Kyber representative from Golden Auctions, just based off of the word of mouth, what everyone else was saying in the hobby, and sent him two slabs to sell. Once again, I just kind of wanted to test things out. Um, One of them that I sent was a Einstein Time magazine. It was actually Time. It was Einstein's first Time magazine cover from 1929, I believe. And the reason, another reason that I wanted to try it out is I saw that Golden Auctions, again, as I stated, they've been doing more and more high-end magazine sales. Just a few months ago, they sold a copy of Time Magazine number one, which was a CGC 5.5, I think, low grade, for $18,000. So I'm like, holy cow, I got to send my Einstein into them and see what it can do. And man, you know what? All those people who were raving about Kyber and about the customer service, they were 100% right. I'm not even like I'm being totally honest here. I am 100% going to go back because he was regularly checking in, I mean, responding like immediately, like within a couple hours, putting out promos on social media for my items. Also, I remember, when I would consign with Heritage, it would usually take like 4 to 6 months a lot of times for my item to actually go up for sale. I don't know why. It was a long process. With Golden Auctions, I sent my items in and they were literally up for sale the next week, like super fast. So that's a big plus as well. Not as much of a wait. And man, yeah, Kyber was awesome to work with. We chatted a lot about the hobby. He's super excited to be representing the growing hobby. He's really educated himself and learned a lot about it. And it's really nice to have someone in one of these auction sites, in one of these spots, who's like actually representing this hobby and not just kind of treating it like, a little side piece. Obviously we're much smaller than sports cards and comics and some of these other things, but he really is helping to try and put a focus on it and grow it, and I love that. And he was awesome to work with. I was happy with the results. My Einstein sold for $4,800. So that was pretty cool. And I am definitely going to be sending more slabs to them in the future. And I'm definitely paying more attention to what they're putting up. So, once again, this is just my experience. I was not a fan of Golden Auctions, even just recently as a few months ago. I had successfully sold multiple times with Heritage Auctions, and then I was hearing more and more people talk about Golden. I loved that they added the filter for a separate category of graded magazines. I saw that they had some really strong sales going on, not just that $18,000 Time magazine, but there's been multiple that have been selling, above 5,000, even several above 10,000. Some Michael Jordan 9 points, lots of good stuff going for strong prices. And so I tried them, and I have to agree with what those others were saying. The customer service was excellent, and it almost seems to me in a very short time, because once again I make these videos on a monthly basis. I track all the highest sales, and it's almost like overnight Heritage went from owning the majority of the high-end graded magazine sales to now Golden seems to have just snatched that away from them, and I'm okay with it because at least someone's paying attention to us and giving us some extra care. So just want to share that with everybody. I highly recommend that you keep an eye on Golden Auctions because they're doing some great things with the graded magazines. Going to be really interesting to see what happens as PSA rolls things out, hopefully here in the next month or two. They promised us Q1 of 2025, so we'll find out if that is still on track. But yeah, that's it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree. And if you've not yet done so, please subscribe to this channel. I appreciate likes and comments. And until the next video, see you guys next time.